In a previous video, I talked about what an imaginary number looks like and what an imaginary unit is, and several different ways to simplify expressions containing I, or an imaginary number, and that I is the same as the square root of -1. So using what we learned, we are going to solve a few negative square roots. So to start, let's say we have, square roots of negative numbers, not negative square roots. So let's say we need to find the square root of -9. Well, we know that the square root of 9 is 3. But how do we take the square root of a negative number? Well, now that we have imaginary numbers to use, we can say that this is equivalent to 9 times, the square root of 9 times -1. You can further split this into the square root of 9 times the square root of -1. And from the previous video, this might look familiar, because this right here, the square root of -1, equals I. So, simplify further, the square root of 9 is 3. Kind of a perfectionist with these numbers. The square root of 9 is 3, and the square root of -1 is I. So our answer is just 3I. I'm going to try another one here. So let's say we're trying to find the square root of -25. It's the same as the square root of 25 times the -1. These two together equal -25. Separate those using our amazing algebra skills. Okay, with me so far? And then we just take the square root of the 25, which is 5, times, and this right here equals I. So our answer for that is 5I. I'll do another one here that won't come out looking as nice and square as these. Small one that looks easy, but it's not. Square root of -2. Well, it is easy, but it comes out looking kind of ugly. So we'd have just the square root of 2 times -1, all in this one square root here. Which is equivalent to square root of 2 times the square root of -1. And that's the same as, we can't really simplify the square root of 2 unless you really want a decimal, times I. So a nice way to write this would just be I times the square root of 2. And that would be an acceptable answer.